Hello, today we're going to do the Triforce design. It's one that I haven't done before, so I had to kind of play around a little bit, and I figured out a couple different ways that you can do it depending on what kind of tools you have. So what I'm using, I have a triangle here. See if I can get it so you can see it. Anyways, it's got 3 angles on it. I think they come in different shapes and sizes. I have the one that has a 30-degree angle, a 60-degree angle, and a 90-degree angle, and it's 12 inches long along this straight side here, 14 on that. But this here is called, it's a 1260. So this angle and this length is what they measure by. Anyways, so what I've done is centered the design, I've centered the t-shirt. It's been soaked in soda ash. It's just slightly damp, and I pulled the front forward, so this is the back of the tee. This here is the center of the front. I do have a video on how to center a tee, so if you don't know how to pull the center forward, go watch that video. Anyways, I got it folded in half. I laid my square on here, or my triangle on, and I've just drawn the half a triangle on there, that shape. And now what we're going to do, and if you don't happen to have one of these but you do have a protractor, the way you can do it is figuring out how big you want it. Like I say, this here is 12 inches here, this here is 7 inches, so it's going to be a total of 14 inches wide. But you can make it whatever size you want. This here is a 30-degree angle, so what you do is you just find where you want your starting point, and you just put a dot right there, and then you break out your protractor and you set it for 30 degrees. This here, on, of course, all the way around says 150, but that's 30-degree angle. You line that up, and then you can draw your line out, and then for the other side you can take any type of piece of paper, anything that has a nice 90-degree corner on it, and you can lay that on there and draw your straight edge up. Anyways, that'll get you your triangle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this point and fold it over to this point here. So right along the line, and I went ahead and I drew the line on both sides. You can do that if you have a triangle. Once again, I just flipped it over, laid this down, drew it on. If you don't have one, if you've drawn it on this way, you can hold it up to the light, and then you can usually see that line through there. Anyways, that's just going to help you, because when you pick this up and fold it, you're going to just lay those lines right on top of each other. And then you want to kind of smooth everything out. You want to make sure you kind of feel in here, make sure you don't have any wrinkles. And once you have that done, then you're going to fold this line right over to here, right down the middle here. So you're basically folding the shirt into thirds. So once you have that done, and you can feel along that edge to make sure that everything is lined up. If you have a kind of a gap here and a hang over here, you haven't quite got your shirt folded correctly. So you want it in nice thirds there. And then the next thing, I once again turn to my triangle here, and let's see if I can remember what I did here. I line it up right along this big long line that I have, and then that gives me a line right here, 90 degrees off of this edge. So I'm going to draw that line in. Now once you have that, this here is going to be that center triangle, and these are going to be the other 3 triangles, the top and the 2 bottom ones. So we're going to tie these off separately, and I'm just going to use kite string. So I'm going to fold this up, just accordion fold right along there. And this one I'm just doing little folds. The main thing is you want to make sure that you have all of your layers in there, so that as you're folding, you're not kind of pulling anything or leaving anything out. Okay, and once I have that, I'm going to tie that up with kite string. And then we're going to fold the other direction. And I'll go ahead and leave this. I'm not going to cut this yet. I'll leave it because since we're going to tie off the other side in the same spot, it'll have the string already there. Okay, so now I'm going to fold my other long line here and do the same thing, just little accordion folds. And sometimes it's easier on when you have lots of layers if you reach underneath. Let's zoom in just a little bit. If you reach underneath, that way you can make sure you have all of the layers in that little fold there. Okay, and now, like I say, I had this already attached right there, so that makes it easy to tie up this other side right in the same place. And you just work your string around, make sure it's lined up where you want it on your line. I'll wrap it around a couple times, cinch that down just a little bit, and then we'll tie that off. There it is. And then we'll clip that. And then the rest of this I'm just going to scrunch it up. But this here, like I say, is the 3 triangles, and this is the one in the center. So the rest of this, I'm going to kind of just flatten it out. I got both sleeves tucked in together. So pull those out. And I'm just going to do just kind of a basic scrunch, but I like to make sure I have the t-shirt kind of as flat as possible, just so I don't have any big, really thick areas that is going to leave a big white spot if I don't get dye into it. Scrunch the rest of this up. Okay, and that is the Triforce design, and we'll throw some dye on this here in a minute. Okay, we're back with the Triforce symbol, and we're ready to put some dye on it. So this first point here, this is going to be the center triangle, the upside down one, inside the 3 triangles, or surrounded by 3 triangles, which is going to be this thicker part. So I'm going to dye the center part with black. So let's put that on. And I'm starting a little bit away from the line and letting it kind of do its own spreading thing here. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some gold on the other side. I believe this is daffodil. It's a nice gold color. So put that on the other side of the line and try to keep them from spreading back and forth. And this here has got a few layers thick to it, so you want to make sure you get enough dye down in there. So I kind of poke on a little bit, squeeze some, let it settle, and then I come back and I add more to it. So let's finish dyeing this one black. Looks like I got a leak on that one. Okay. We'll do the same thing, put the dye down, let it spread. And the lighter color, I don't care if it spreads too much because I can always cover it with black. Put that down, then we'll finish touching up with the black here. Get right up to that line. And then we're going to put a black border around it, so I'll color the outer edge around it. So this is going to be directly around the Triforce symbol. So you'll need to use a little bottle. Okay, so that's going to be the Triforce symbol, and then the rest of the shirt I'm going to just dye in 2 shades of green. Triforce symbol. I'll be back to finish up this video after this here's had a chance to set up, and I'll post the results at the end. Thank you.